We'll call this meeting to order at 7:03 p.m. Does anybody have any comments or announcements to make before we get into the agenda?
No, not really.
Right,
Are there extra copies or should I pull it up on my
I
phone?
think you do a copy, sure.
Very nice.
Now for the minutes. I want to be sure the people who are here, but I don't recognize a couple of the people in the.
Sure, would please all three of you introduce yourselves for the minutes?
I can go first. Linda Neiman, 59 Ballard Drive, you know, go back.
And I'm Mandy Patrick, 195 Stowe Street, and I am presenting later on the CMAS PTG Sustainability Committee. Proposal.
And I'm Rachel Gibson, 23 Lexington Road, I'm a resident of Concord.
Oh,
Yeah, welcome.
And Ms. Olson Mikowski, could you please identify yourself for the minutes? If you're there.
Sorry, I'm pushing all the wrong buttons. Can you hear me?
Yes.
This is Betsy Olson Mikowski, and I live in Wedgewood Common, and I'm here on behalf of as a member of Mothers Out Front.
Thank you. Great, we will proceed then to agenda item number 2, meetings and minutes. First thing on the agenda is approval of the August 20 minutes. Did anybody have any feedback or suggested edits that they have not already communicated?
yeah, Brad communicated a couple that I added, they were not. Major, but they were easy to do.
Does anybody have anything else on the minutes? Hearing none, we would be in line for a motion to approve the minutes as amended.
Motion to approve.
Can I get a second, please?
I second.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Hearing none, we would be in line for a vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it, it's unanimous. Minutes are adopted as amended. The last that I saw, the July minutes, welcome. The July minutes have not been posted. Could you please just ensure we don't get behind on that? It wasn't on when I looked
Nice,
3 days ago. Okay,
But I'll check, maybe they
may need to be redone.
Okay, so check.
Please. I've got a long list of event and meeting notices for you. I'll try to not go on forever. Tomorrow, September 18, 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. at the Goodwin Forum, the League of Women Voters is hosting a forum called Together Against Hate, the Concord Community Forum. September 20, 11 to 11:45 a.m. Local author Susan Edwards Richmond is going to have a lovely author event directed at younger kids, the Great Pollinator Count. That'll be at Fowler Library outdoors if weather allows. Everybody should come to on Sunday, September 21, 2 to 4 p.m. at the First Parish Church front lawn. We'll discuss that in several minutes. And after you go to Sunday, tickets are still available for Stone Soup, 4 to 7 p.m. September 22 at the Goodwin Forum at the main library. The Health Department, Fire Department, the library, and Central Middlesex Medical Reserve Corps are hosting a talk on climate extremes and emergency preparedness. That'll be focused on the consequences and externalities of climate change and how to prepare your household for an emergency. September 24, 1:30 to 3:30 p.m. Local chapters of Mothers Out Front will meet virtually with our state senator Mike Barrett, who is chairman of the Joint Committee on Telecom, Utilities and Energy to detail Mothers Out Front's legislative agenda for the rest of the legislative session. Over 30 area residents are already registered for this event. To sign up for that, please visit mothersoutfront.org/MA-events and fill out the web form. They would love to see you, even if you are not a Mothers Out Front member, so that you can hear all about their agenda and hear from your state senator. That same day, 7 to 8 p.m. on September 24, Metro West Climate Solutions in Green Newton will host a webinar on geothermal energy featuring Angie Alberto Escobar, Heat's Gas to Geo Transition Director. She will provide an overview of geothermal technology and give an update on the Framingham pilot. You can register for that online at metrowestclimatesolutions.org or through the Cooler Concord website. September 27, ORS will have river cleanup locations all throughout Massachusetts with 9 a.m. or 10 a.m. starts. Here on the Assabet River, they will have 3 cleanup locations between the Acton Canoe Launch and Egg Rock. Their plan is to remove tires and other very large debris. You can sign up on the ORS event calendar page at ORS, OARS, the number 3, rivers.org/events. October 2nd, 3 to 5 p.m. at Fowler Library, the library's Sustainability Committee will have a forum on updates to its 5-year sustainability plan
Brad, I'm sorry, that got shifted to the 10th.
for the 10th,
Yes.
same time,
2 to 4.
2 to 4.
So October 10th?
Yes.
October 10, 2 to 4. Library should update their calendar.
Yeah, that's in the works.
Great. The Library Sustainability Committee will have a forum on updates to its 5-year sustainability plan. I believe that somebody from this committee should attend that. I can do it if I get a babysitter, but I would love it if it was one of you.
I've been going to the sustainability meetings.
Okay, can you make that date, you think?
Yeah, see why not, I think it's on the calendar already.
Great,
That's the 10th.
yes. October 4, 9:30 a.m. to 3, drop off, swap off at Kai's Road. Volunteers are still wanted and requested. If you would like to volunteer, visit reusit.org. That's REUSIT.org. Reusit. I asked you previously to hold October 18 for town clerk trainings for committee members. Is that still planned for October 18th?
I am.
Please keep holding October 18th and I'll track down with the town clerk whether we're doing those. Everybody who can attend on October 18 from the committee, I would really like to attend. We're gonna have a series of trainings for committee members all throughout the year. Each of them is gonna be beneficial. 2 more to go, and then I'm done. October 28, 9:30 to 11 a.m., Kai's Road, 2nd floor meeting room. Stantec is going to present to TAC on their work that they've been doing. I think that it would be very important for us to have at least one of our members at that meeting to hear from Stantec. I'm gonna be out of town.
What is the purpose of the presentation?
They're a consultant on transportation.
Oh, it's transportation. Okay.
And this has been a major review of transportation projects needed in town. So it's gonna be a pretty big deal for TAC. And there's gonna be a lot of nexus with our climate plan work. So would anybody be able to do that? Okay,
The 28th, 9:30.
yeah, 9:30 to 11, Kai's Road, 2nd floor. They haven't posted the agenda yet, but that's gonna be at least a piece of that meeting. And then, no expectation of attendance for our meeting, because this is gonna conflict with our November meeting. But on November 19, TAC is gonna have public meetings pursuant to Stantec's information. They're gonna have one at the Harvey Wheeler Center, 6:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. And then they also have a morning session planned, but I don't have any information on that yet. Maybe we'll know that by next week. That's all I have. Does anybody else have any events or meetings to be plugged?
Harbor Climate Week is this week, and I might go probably Friday, there's a big symposium that I'm speaking some other folks, so it's open to the public in case anyone's interested. It's Friday and then Saturday morning. I should take the registration, but it's more just, going and rubbing elbows and seeing people speak.
This is this Friday?
This is this Friday, yeah, so.
Any other events or meetings plugged? Great, we're right on time, notwithstanding the late start. We'll move to agenda item number 3, chair updates. All right, who did the homework?
Been working at it.
I have some people, I think, I haven't approached the individual.
Okay, after the meeting, just give me the name.
Okay,
We don't have to read it in for the record.
Good.
put anybody
Thanks.
in the
Yeah, I
backwards
appreciate-
seat.
Right.
Everybody else, now, please give me a name now. Now. We've had 3 months, give me a name now, please. I'll get after Paul too. Status update,
Sometimes we have to check whether people have submitted green cards.
the only active green card right now is Fran Cummings. And we are already reaching out to Fran to gauge a level of interest.
Right, I've already done, I had talked to him, he's probably not interested,
Okay,
but,
we're gonna,
I tried the gentle persuasion on him, and he,
well, I gently persuade you to come up with another name now. Moving on, the 4 updates from last meeting's agenda. Last meeting's agenda, item number 1 under the welcome. I just wanted to express thanks to Brad Hubbard Nelson and Bob for drafting endangerment language, which we will discuss later on the agenda. In case you were not already aware, the select board this week approved comments and yesterday submitted a great letter to the EPA. Additionally, they CC'd all of our state and federal representatives. And have already heard back from Congresswoman Trahan, who shared a delegation letter that all of our state congressional delegation and 2 senators signed to the EPA. So we have that, and we'll place that on file. So thank you for doing that
for the
work.
record, it was Brad's work, I thought.
Great.
I may have sent him a link.
yeah, you gave me a look.
Okay, there's still Brad's.
You get a pat on the head for sending the link. Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks, Brad.
Should note that there was a, in the Times this morning, the National Academy of Sciences wrote a big paper on.
The Paris climate, was it the Paris article?
No, well, it was basically it was written, it was a comment on the endangerment finding, but also, just totally disagreeing with it, with the Department of Energy scientists have said, okay. And that complicates things,
We don't like complications, we want things to be simple, right? On last month's agenda, item 2C. Under events, I did attend the MAPC Climate Resilience Playbook webinar. Megan, did you get a chance to do that too? So we have that in our toolkit now. Next time any town departments need to do something on our environment, we have a playbook for them. They can plan for how they can get started and have a list of to-dos to check the boxes on.
Is there any recording of that?
There is, I'll give it to you,
Yes, and then,
and I'll send you the link to the actual playbook as well. Does anybody else want that?
I think you sent it to me already, right?
Yeah, probably.
So I haven't got a chance to look at it, but.
No, I didn't send it to you. You
Oh, you
know what
did?
I sent to you was the thing from the month before.
Oh, okay, so yeah, I would like to see it.
On item 2D, Ag Day planning, what is our status right now on the Your Sustainable Home Now brochure? Should I send that to Tammy? Do we need to ask Megan for money to have Tammy do it? Have you already sent it?
I haven't said anything.
Okay. What do we wanna do with that brochure?
I just haven't looked, I haven't looked at it in a while. So. It's a good thing to be able to hand something out. We would wanna update the web page. Certainly, but the web page is the most important part. And we wanna point people there.
I've got, I think on the document that I forwarded to you with the edits that Janet and I did.
Yeah.
I believe that also includes the edits we would wanna see on the webpage.
Okay.
I could communicate that now to the town communications team if we wanted to.
Sure, I don't care, I think that would be fine. I just feel bad that I have never, it was something that got on my pile and looked there.
If we have suggested web edits, we can do that quickly.
Yeah, okay. Why don't I'll zap that over to the town folks. And just, when you've got time for that brochure, and if you want me to take it off your plate, I can. I just feel like we need some kind of sense of the meeting that that's a brochure that we want updated.
I think it is, yeah, I mean, it's good work, and it's good that, we just have to figure out how, the best way to disseminate it. You know, when we originally made it, it was like right at the start of COVID, and it just died. Maybe if we made a plan to give it to all the real estate agents in town and, you know, somehow get it to groups, that would make sense. Just printing it up to be able to hand out at events is all right, I don't think that.
You know, we didn't have a whole lot of collateral at our ag table, so I don't think it hurts to have something like that, if it's updated and useful and.
I had it, and when I was setting up the table, I decided, just looking at the whole visage,
Yeah, it would have been too much.
it was too much.
Yeah, I
It
mean, not to
would-
say we didn't have enough, we had plenty, but we didn't have a lot of takeaways.
It
so-
would have been the most colorful thing to
Yeah.
draw the eye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Okay.
Yeah, that's not a big lift, I think, getting the website updated and those edits done.
And then one last miscellany from last month's agenda. Agenda item 3B under the state and federal update. I had promised Megan markup of the environmental bond bill. That's half finished, so I haven't gotten it to you yet, but it is half finished. So it'll come to you soon. It's at the top of my to-dos. And the thing that I did do on the environmental bond bill is that I buttonholed one of our local state representatives during Ag Day. And he's very interested in the idea of working through what a bond authorization for network geothermal at the MCI site might look like.
Oh, that, is his name Simon or is his name,
Yeah, Representative Talbot, yes. So we do have some work to do to be communicative to all of the relevant stakeholders, including especially the MCI committee before we do that, but I did have that conversation and he was interested,
Right.
but we would need to move soon, so. That's all the action items I have from last month. Any further discussion on that before we move to a debrief of Ag Day?
I think that's right, yeah.
Hearing none. How do we think Ag Day went? Takeaways, deltas? Positives?
I would say all positive,
How many volunteers?
it was very busy.
We had 3 volunteers. And all 3 of us stayed for a long time.
Yeah, we should give something to Brad, he stayed there, I think, the entire day, didn't you?
I made Shelley table while I walked around,
You fed yourself?
eating a sandwich,
Okay,
Right.
but other than that, yeah.
yeah, this was a very long day for you, thank you for doing that, that was a lot, yeah. But yeah, it was positive, so.
The one delta I would suggest for future tabling is I think we should have candy,
Can,
Yeah,
yeah. Just to draw some people in. We were next to a very festive Mothers Out Front table.
but we were sort of sandwiched in between the library, which was festive, and Laura Mills and things to play with, and they were handing out plants and. They're very sustainability minded, and then Mothers Out Front, so it sort of felt like, I mean, it was great, because we were. In this row of climate folks and sustainable, but yeah, I mean, Linda, you were there, like, I sort of felt like we were the boring old town.
Okay.
So,
okay, good.
but it was good, we got lots of traction, I don't know, do you have numbers in terms of how many people?
I didn't look how many people there were, but we do have 4 follow-ups to do with people. I've got that sheet that I actually pulled out of this box
Okay.
before I hand it to you for Sunday. But yeah, we've got a few contacts to follow up on bits and bobs about, so.
The one takeaway I had, and I was just there in the morning, where there are a lot of folks from neighboring towns, Sudbury, Lincoln, other places that were analogous to us, like either a nonprofit advocacy group or a climate action committee town. So they were really interested in what we were doing, and we just talked about, partnering and thinking about more regional efforts, so hopefully that'll happen.
Right, any other thoughts? We need a better tent. The town's tent is in rough shape, or at least the tent that we got.
Okay.
It took 6 people to put that thing up. It was hard.
Maybe I'll buy you one. Check the budget.
Maybe they'll be one at the swap meet.
Yeah, check the drop off spot off, maybe somebody will leave a tent there.
I think we can find it every once in a while.
All right, moving on, Brad, how can we help on Sunday?
I'm just. Okay, so for Sunday. The preparations are going pretty well. We've had a really good group that's gotten together now twice a week to plan things out, including, promotion and logistics and just arranging the. We have some good speakers, including Catherine is gonna be the lead-off speaker. The speakers are gonna be really quite short. We don't wanna do lots of talking to people, but we're gonna have a few, like 4-minute speakers, including Catherine, Wendy, Ravelli, who's gonna talk about sort of the town progress, and we're gonna have a student from the Sunrise Club at CCHS is gonna talk, and one of the ministers from First Parish is gonna welcome people, and we're gonna have a bunch of testimonials, short testimonials, like a minute, just to for people to boast about what they've done and tell about, whether they're happy. People who have done things will have stickers that say, I love my EV or my solar array or my, you can actually write on it with whatever you want. Not whatever you want, so there's gonna be like around 16 or 17 tables from different organizations, including some art projects there's gonna be a bunch of art projects. As from Art for All is gonna have a community quilt that they're gonna be making that will be a persistent art project for anybody to do, and there's gonna be art projects for kids and of different ages. From Muscatine Arts and Environment, Concord Can's gonna have something, it's gonna be hard to get all the art done, I think. So the would love to have, so Climate Action Committee will have a table right next to the welcome table. And we can, I've made designed a couple of posters, to go with the table, one on, just, community emissions progress and also on the climate action plan. And Shannon is getting those printed. So I'll get them, pick them up, that's really nice. And, let's see. The best promotion, I think has come from the town and from CMLP, they can reach a lot of people and, but, there's been good promotion, Betsy has done a lot of promotion with the schools, different schools and groups, and, a lot of social media. Stuff like that, so it's going to be good weather. We're hoping for, I said up to 200 people, I would be really surprised if we had that many. But if we have more than 100 people, and hopefully not, and hopefully some people who are there to find out about stuff. Rather than just the usual crowd of, that would be great, I think it's gonna be really fun. No matter what, cause it's easy, this is pretty easy. We'd love to get volunteers, for the event, either to be at the CAC table with the candy. Or with, I don't know about candy, I think like banana bread or something, but that's something.
I
I
want
was gonna ask.
people to come to our table, I don't want moms to come to our table, no offense to the mothers out front, I want kids to come to the table.
Responsible for what food we have at the table.
Are we allowed to serve food? I was wondering about the food.
Oh, yeah,
Okay, there's no.
Well,
it's just
good
like,
question.
you don't ask questions.
Sorry.
No, I mean,
Food like
there,
I'm happy to-
Volunteers will bring some coffee and, yeah.
Guide you to our temporary food permit process, if there are things that need to be temperature controlled. Prepackaged is always better, so. I know we don't like the packaging, but like a lot of things, we have a lot of masters, including health code.
Yep.
Yeah.
So who would like to come and help out, including people in the audience if they wanna come to a fun event, meet a lot of neighbors. If you're new here, you have to come. And, so Brad's gonna be there.
I'm going to be driving like a maniac from out of state, but I think I'm going to be there.
There.
You'll definitely be there.
Catherine's gonna be there, Bob will be there, right?
I'm out of town.
You're out of town. I know Linda will be there. I know Bessie will be there. I think we're gonna have plenty of volunteers, but we're gonna be getting there at, some people are gonna get there as early as 1 to set up the tables and the climate games. I'm gonna pick the climate games. We have a diagram of where tables will go. I won't bother showing that, but we're kind of arranging that. Let's see. Do we have any handout? I think we should be always trying to take names of people who are interested in what the committee's doing.
I got a box of materials for you.
Oh, that's right there, okay, good. Box of materials. So I think we're gonna, I think it's gonna go by really fast. And I think people will have fun. Well, there'll be music, there's going to be music. It's gonna be like a solar sing-along. Now, that might not excite you, but it's gonna be fun, participatory music.
Any solar powered,
I don't know,
amplifiers or anything?
Stuff like that. No, we don't have
That
that.
would be cool.
I'm getting the First Parish is providing the PA system and all the tables and stuff like that. So that's cool. So I think it's gonna come off. A little bit, you know.
The first
Stressful planning something at the last minute, but in fact, this is going to be pretty.
Well, no expectations, right? It's the first time, so
Well,
and it's gonna be great no matter what. It's the first time, so there's
Yeah.
no gonna threshold or expectation to meet, given it's the first time.
so, Betsy, did I forget anything that's, important to relate?
Unmute. Yeah, I don't think so. You even got the music in. And yeah, I don't think so. I'm working on certificates to recognize organizations in town. Um, you know, just for the things that they have done to, like right now I'm working on one for Orchard House, and I know they installed their geothermal in 2017, but I never got a chance to recognize them for it. So I think it's worth recognizing them for that. And so that's a side project that I'm working on that I'm excited about. And it'll just be a display. And we'll mention it because we're just celebrating, you know, the progress that has been made. And so recognizing the specific things that in town that people have done, I think will be good for all of us. So I think that's, yeah, that's the only thing I would add.
So we'll have our final planning meeting tomorrow afternoon, or was it 4:30, for, if someone wants to join, with me, and we'll.
Do you have any specific needs or volunteering requests that members of our action committee should act on?
I don't think so.
Okay,
I don't think so.
great. Oh, please tell us if anything comes up between now and then.
Sure.
Any other discussion of Sunday? Hearing none, we're in line for agenda item number 5, deputy town manager's update. Megan.
Okay, evening, everyone. A few of the things I was gonna mention were covered in the event coverage earlier. But I wanna talk a little bit about some projects that haven't been mentioned yet. One is the middle school solar project. That procurement is at a stage where 2 bids were received for that effort. And they are currently, as of Monday, still being reviewed, and you know, when we have information about who the selected vendor is, we have to share, but that project is still on track and moving forward, it's exciting.
Is there anything that anybody on our committee should do to have a thumb in that pie?
I don't think so at this point, but I appreciate that.
So we got some bids.
We got 2, yep, we got 2, and I don't know who was on the review panel. I think it's definitely CMLP participation. But you know, they had a rigorous process for you know, how to be compliant, and so they were reviewing the 2 proposals against that criteria.
And that's both for the parking lot solar and the rooftop solar?
I think they put it out for the whole thing, and
Yeah.
then they'll see what they can get done with you know, kind of the costs that come in. So that is one item. You know, a few things that I have talked about at past meetings are a lot of data collection work that I'm working on. So one is green communities, you know, that's not new. It's a data collection effort that we do every year. But it's my first time doing it, so I think I need to mention it here to let you know that it's on my radar. I've had some conversations with our green communities kind of staff with regional liaisons, and I'm working on putting that together. And another one is our decarbonization roadmap. So we're working with Power Options on that. And you know, it was kind of one of those items that was on my to-do list to look into this summer, and I didn't really know exactly how it was left off in the transition. And now I met with our point person, and realized what data needs to be sent in, you know, found what data had been done up to a certain point and working on completing that and sending that in. So I would say we're in better shape there, and I'm hoping to complete the submission for that by the end of September. So that's a major priority.
So that, we give them data and
They do it.
they do it. Okay.
Yeah, they crunch the numbers, they connect back with us at a certain point, but they need about 5 weeks with our data to do their analysis. So I was hoping to get that in to them before October. And, yeah, so working on that.
And
I think,
just remind me,
Yeah.
how often does that happen? Is this do we have a benchmark and then this is? We're forgetting like what the cadence is for.
we got a grant to do this work, technical assistance. So I don't know if we've had a decarbonization roadmap prior.
No,
This is the new.
This is new,
effort.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so this would be sort of the benchmark at which we base the roadmap.
Yes, for municipal buildings.
Yeah.
Or municipal, facilities.
Yeah.
And it has to kind of interact with that, the other energy thing. Which I'm getting over this well.
The ESCO
Yes,
targets.
Yeah, so that's, okay.
Yeah, so that one, I wanted to mention too, this, I was looking back at some of the previous, director reports and a lot of these same topics were on the list, you know, in the past, and they're still on the list here, and ESCO is one of them. And, we did a lot of work in the spring and the summer, thinking of going out for requests for qualifications to work with a firm on this. And we're still considering that, but the industry is changing all the time, I'll tell you, and we do have some meetings scheduled this week with our procurement team and our facilities team to look at our gas contract. We have had a contract for a number of years that has lapsed, and so now there's an opportunity to partner with another kind of agency, and we're looking at what benefits could exist for the town at this point. And so I don't really have more details to share because it's all kind of being looked at with procurement right now. But we are still on a path to work with a firm to assess our buildings and to focus on carbon reduction and, efficient capital planning. And there's just different methods for how to do it, and so another method might have opened up, and so we're exploring that, and I hope to have more information at the October meeting.
When you say benefits, what exactly?
With like group purchasing power, pre-negotiated contracts, there might be some options where many municipalities work with one group, so there's kind of power in numbers. That's what we're kind of talking about.
For those of us who have been on the committee, you said.
Yeah.
Did we reach out to an ESCO in the past?
We have, yes, we have talked to several ESCOs, we've put together a request for qualifications, we're gonna see if we were gonna, work with one, like, do a procurement process.
And is that just for the natural gas or electricity is provided by the town, so how do we don't negotiate with ourselves, do we?
That's a good question. It would, there has been a lot of research done into it, and I would need our facilities team to kind of back me up on that one, but, we are looking at. My understanding is that we have so many buildings, and we're looking at making sure we're getting ahead of. Some of these major capital issues that will be coming up, so that we're gonna be planning for in advance with the financial component and the, debt service. So that if a boiler fails in a couple of years, we'll know that that's gonna happen and be ready with a plan for a greener solution. That also works with our kind of budget, so.
Just for the benefit of the minutes and anybody who hasn't been in one of these conversations previously, ESCO is an acronym for Energy Services Corporation Company.
Yes.
Anything else for us?
Yeah, a couple things, thank you. Oh, and you know, when we're talking about the ESCO, I just wanna note that the town is in the process of looking at our municipal needs and our municipal buildings. And trying to, you know, see where some opportunities might exist. And so some people might know about this effort, it's fairly new, but there's a land use working group, which is a committee that was appointed by the select board. And they're trying to solve a number of challenges, and their meetings are very interesting, if people are ever interested in listening in, and they have 3 subcommittees. One's working on public safety, one's working on public works, and another is considering consolidated town offices, because we have so many buildings across the community. And those are outcomes that were recommended from our 2020 master facilities study. That looked at every building that we had, kind of did interviews, did best practices, and tried to understand if the buildings were meeting the needs, what could be done with renovation or expansion, or eventually, you know, considering a relocation. And so that study determines that public safety and public works really are not, those locations are not meeting the program. Public safety, our Walden Street campus especially, expansion's not possible, it's on the river, it's very tight over there. And looked at acreage and, you know, what these programs would be. Anyway, all saying this, one of the buildings we're looking at is the PV school. So that was the schools. They transferred that over to the town at the last town meeting. And now this committee is really looking at that building with some of our needs and seeing, could it be a match for, you know, anything. So right now we're doing an environmental kind of assessment of the building itself, to see if this has any hazardous material, or, you know, what level we're at there. We're also gonna be doing a conceptual space modeling at the building to see, you know, what other uses could actually fit in here. And the reason I'm really bringing this up is because in discussing it with our facilities director earlier today, he is really interested in geothermal there. So
As are we.
yeah, so that building is being looked at, you know, how could we turn it into net zero?
Peabody,
What's that?
Peabody School,
Yeah,
and that school was awful for MG. Before.
right.
It's a sieve.
So, you know, I bring this up to say, where any project we're looking at is really trying to look at it from the lens of, how can we make this better? How can we, you know, employ this new technology to make improvements? So when we're looking at the ESCO and model, and we're looking at all of our municipal buildings, if we're gonna be consolidating down the line, you know, no decisions have been made, we are kind of looking at that list of which ones are we doing a deep dive audit, and what are things gonna look like in a handful of years to be strategic.
We should really endeavor with any large land redevelopment to be better than zero. Not net zero, because net zero does not help us reach our emission reduction target.
Sure.
So if there is a geothermal well happening, how can we have some synergy with other area parcels? How can we store that energy? How can we export that energy onto our circuit or export it to another town? There are a lot of questions to be asked about being better than zero, not net zero.
Yeah, I want to mention one thing also that, I think I might have sent something around in the mail, MCAN has done, is working on embodied carbon for new building projects, and there's a lot of, you know, building sciences is improving, and, it would be good to get a presentation on that, because they have kind of a suggested procurement for projects, in order to ask for, in order to request, low embodied carbon. You know, the kind of concrete you use and building materials and stuff like that. I don't know that much about it, but there's a good presentation on them. Should I send it around or not? I didn't. We can look at them.
If you did, it's up in a window that I haven't looked at yet.
Yeah.
So you might want to send it again.
I'll send it
To
out.
all of us.
Good.
So a couple more things, Brad mentioned drop off, swap off, which is coming up, a good opportunity to reuse and recycle. We also have our yard waste composting center that is open and overseen by Public Works, so if people need to drop things off there, that's available. And my third composting piece is I am thinking I need to do another communication on our pilot composting program that ended at the end of July. At the time, the communication was, we're revisiting, we're analyzing, we're looking at it. And, I think based on my understanding of the last meeting, we are not planning to pursue that at this time to continue that program. And I think some people might be in a little bit of a limbo of, should I get a service? Should I, purchase a barrel through Public Works to do at-home composting? How should I proceed? So, I mean, I got some feedback from a resident the other day asking, what really went into this decision? Can you elaborate a little bit more? And I'm like, it's probably important to clarify this and, I'm happy to put together a communication and maybe, send it to someone who might like to look at it and, give some feedback, because really, my next point that we're gonna talk about later is climate action plan, where we're gonna really come up with, an action plan to what we're gonna do. And I think that if it was gonna be reinvigorated and reconsidered, it would likely come up through that, planning process, where we're gonna be looking at our resources and looking at our goals and really deciding what our work plan is gonna be for the next 5 years. So I just wanna recognize that. I think there should be some more messaging from me with input from this group about the next steps there.
Just so I know,
yeah.
where's that messaging going to? Is there like a pilot group listserv? Or
I have one from the people that signed up in 2022, but the original messaging went out pretty widely. Like we put out, it was in news and notices, it was on our website, it was, I think, our social media pages. And we also had QR codes at the two sites to get in touch with the folks that were dropping things off there. But I have a list now. When I sent out the notice to the 2022 group, I heard from a lot of people that had moved. So I kind of tailored a list down and said I would be back in touch. So that's on my list.
Were you asking for somebody
Yeah, I
to
mean-
look at?
Yeah, I've been in touch with a few of you, so yeah, I'm not sure who would like to kind of be the
I would
communication.
take a look at.
Yeah. Okay, great.
I had a question on food waste in general. Is there a quantity where the prices go down? Like, for instance, if there was more participation in residences, or if some of the restaurants decided to participate, are there food waste transport companies that would pay less because we're giving them more? I mean, it's a product for them. They can compost, they maybe methane, so.
Yeah, I don't know the answer to that. I think I've looked at what it costs for standard residential pickup.
Mhm.
I haven't analyzed, kind of a larger program at this point and what that would entail. Okay, so a couple more things and,
It's a good question though. I mean, I think they probably are tiered rates and
Yeah, I mean, if
they're already
that's-
coming and doing schools. So there's a big industrial composting happening. I don't say industrial, but sort of industrial.
Oh, they are getting the school.
They're doing all the schools.
Okay, it's great.
So, and in some states, it's the law to compost if you're over a certain size, like restaurants in California. So, I'm hoping we're moving in that direction. I think Massachusetts is actually way behind on it, even though we're doing really well. It's because residents. It's more because of individual action than it is because of state policy.
so I know we're gonna talk about the climate action plan later, but, so I guess I'll just say that later. And the last thing I saved the best for last here, we have some very exciting news that is really. I'm excited to share with you. Just found my right paper here. We are the recipients of a major grant from MVP for $450,000 for our Suasco Rib watershed effort. let's say where it is. So this is a partnership between the town of Concord, ORS, and MAPC. It's a 2-year state grant to launch a regional climate collaborative for Sudbury, Assabet, and Concord, Suasco Rivers watershed. And so this application was really championed by our former sustainability director, Eric Sims. He put so much work into it and really came up with this concept with our partners at ORS and MAPC. I did join in towards the end of finalizing the scope in the spring, so I am aware of, you know, the efforts, and it was something that we thought about, would we be able to still take this on? You know, with Eric moving on, and the decision was yes, this is really something we believe in. It meets our, it's, you know, is in line with our climate action plan. I think it hits a lot of the things that we've talked about in this, with this group, about how are we working with our neighbors? How are we thinking bigger? How can we make a difference and impact and think regionally? This model exists in other watersheds, and so we're not totally starting from scratch, but it is something that should exist here. And I'll say the energy with ORS staff and MAPC is really palpable, and we have a kickoff meeting on October 1st. So we found out a little while ago, but the news had been embargoed until just yesterday, I think. Because the state wanted to make an announcement, and the governor did put out a press release. And we're working on our own formal communication internally and externally. But now that it is not embargoed, I can share it with you. So the first year is a little bit of a lighter lift. It's really kind of coordinating with our with the other communities and setting up who's going to be working on this with us. And then the second year gets a little bit more intense. And the goal is to set us up for a real plan and like to put together future scopes for additional potential MVP funding to do some more detailed modeling about, you know, kind of flood and drought and preparedness there. So that's gonna be a big effort, and we're really excited to, you know, lead that and work with our colleagues in other towns.
So the October 1st meeting is
Internal,
just internal.
yes,
With having somebody from CAC participate.
yeah, I think that'd be fine,
Paul has certainly has expertise on that, although he's not here at the meeting.
yeah.
But
I think it's, yeah, I'm sure we can do that, and that might be great. I think this first one is, kind of the point people from the 3 organizations and thinking about, schedule. And, you know, we had built the scope thinking we were gonna find out about this in July. So we're now looking at our 2-year schedule, which is starting a little bit later, and, kind of trying to adjust it and think about that, so.
now the fact that Eric is still in the watershed,
I know, it worked out great, and,
So should we be attending those meetings?
he's
or-
gonna have to, yeah.
Oh.
I mean, I think he'll want to, and he was very excited when we told him about it, so,
That's great.
yeah, we look forward to working with him on that. So that concludes my report, thank you, everyone.
Thank you. For the benefit of people joining on Zoom who may be expecting to hear a discussion of the climate action and resilience plan, we're still about 20 minutes away from that on our agenda. Next up on our agenda is item number 6, Concord Middle School Parent Teacher Group proposal.
Remind me of your name.
Officially Amanda.
So you're Amanda Patrick on here, okay, I'm just gonna give you permission to share your screen.
with Nancy,
Mandy.
Mandy, my hearing is not good, okay.
Alright, can you see if you can press, if you can share there? Yep.
Oh, well, that's it.
Alright, great. So I'm Mandy Patrick. I'm presenting these slides on behalf of the Concord Middle School PTG Sustainability Committee. And I'm also the parent of a current 7th grader at CMS. and a cyclist myself, both for recreation and car and running. And our goal here is really to socialize this project with stakeholders such as yourselves within Concord to gain your support. We'll be presenting this proposal to the school committee, I believe, later this month, yes. And would like to be able to speak to community support in that meeting. So far we have buy-in from Mothers Out Front, Friends of the Bruce Freeman Rail Trail, and the Transportation Advisory Committee. So I wanted to just start by orienting you to the site we're discussing. So this is a view of the CMS campus before Sanborn was demolished, supposedly back this summer. So you can see the new Ellen Garrison building looking very bright and sparkling in the upper lower left. And then the lower playing field, which is sort of outlined in purple here, and then the Bruce Freeman Rail Trail is on the far side of the screen. And what's harder to appreciate from this is we'll be talking about this a bit, but the elevation, the trail is about 30 feet below the Garrison building. So just switching to a schematic here, just so it's easier to see where the trails are. So there are currently two paths that lead down to the playing fields. There's the gravel path, the old Sanborn path that's in red that existed back in the Sanborn days. I think that's actually gated off at the top right now due to construction. And then there's this new wooded path that was, I think, presumably put in by the school to help students get down to the lower fields. And these are both quite steep. Most of that elevation gain I mentioned is within, going down from the school to the playing field, and then from the bottom of the playing field, it's a short distance to the rail trail, and it's probably about a 5-foot drop, and we've sort of labeled that as a road path. You'll see pictures like I were calling it that. All right, so why do we care? Who's using these paths? Currently used by a number of groups, and we feel like if they were in better shape, they could be used a lot more. They're used by cyclists, the cross-country team. There are a couple student clubs that use these paths, community and student groups. There's a service day in the spring where a group of students goes and cleans up on the Bruce Freeman Rail Trail. CMS students at recess currently use this lower playing field. Students biking to school. And so on. So the issue with these paths, so they're just generally not in great shape. So sort of starting with this short goat path, we're calling it, that goes from the field to the trail. This is very overgrown. There's been poison ivy in the past. I didn't see any a few weeks ago, which is really good because you're just struggling to avoid brushing up against whatever's there. It's just not very wide. There are tree roots sticking up. It's also really hard to see the path from the rail trail. I was actually biking this morning right by it and didn't even see it. So it's not a very inviting path. The old Sanborn path, so this is the one in red, is quite steep. Parts of it are more than a 10% grade. And then it's loose gravel, and sort of the combination of the slope and the surface make it dangerous. And there's been at least one pedestrian injury there. There are also washout issues with this, and this will not be accessible to somebody using a wheelchair or a walker or a stroller. And then this wooded path that's been put in, I would say is even steeper, has some serious erosion problems. I think this picture in the middle gives you a pretty good idea of what this looks like. I mean, looking from the bottom up, you can see the elevation gain and the soil that's washing down. This definitely is not accessible. It seems dangerous and just not a good long-term solution.
What is that green? Is that an attempt to prevent further erosion?
I would assume that was maybe from the original construction work, I'm not sure. It is some sort of
It looks like an erosion barrier.
erosion
that's what I'm seeing,
barrier,
yeah.
but it looks like people have been walking over it and.
Are the playing fields used now?
They are being used right now, yeah, they're used for recess, I don't know what and they may be used beyond that too. I don't know what the long-term plan is for those playing fields, the school is, in the process of putting fields in sort of up at the top of the.
Yeah.
Show that one, so I think that is a question, how those will be used in the future. So. Why improve access? Yeah, I feel like I'm probably preaching to the choir here, I think there are obviously safety benefits of. Keeping kids off busy streets, avoiding some of these trip and fall hazards that are there currently. Health and community building benefits, including increasing accessibility for everyone. There are also emission benefits if some parent car trips can be replaced with walk and bike trips. These are statistics on emissions from driving a student who lives 1 mile from CMS, and I think this is very relevant because this is a distance, students live close enough to school, they don't get a bus, and so, probably many of those students are being driven and could walk or bike instead. Yeah, so opportunities to eliminate some car trips here and reduce emissions. So we've talked a bit about this, there are definitely some aspects of this site that merit consideration, so we've talked a bit about the elevation change. If you want universal access, you definitely need either a series of ramps with railings or a path with a very gentle slope that sort of meanders back and forth. Creating a proper path here would likely require some tree removal. And then the lower fields are bounded by wetland on the south side, but not to the east, sort of between the field and the bike path. Here I just wanted to highlight the fact that there are a couple projects that have been done in Concord that have sort of dealt with similar challenges. So this is White Pond, where there was a 40-foot elevation change, so CMS is a little bit less than this. This is a design that integrates well into a natural setting. I actually think they did quite a good job of minimizing tree removal at White Pond and sort of keeping a natural feeling. So this is one example. And then here, also the access at Powder Mill Road to the Bruce Freeman Rail Trail. This isn't quite as much of an elevation change, but sort of similar in scope. And another design that sort of works well in integrating into a natural setting. I think in terms of the cost of this project, actually, so this was done as part of the larger phase 2C project of building the bike path, so it's a little bit harder to split out exactly what this is, but definitely a relevant example. In terms of the approach to this, I guess personally, I think probably what makes sense is sort of a holistic approach where access, sort of viewed in a single phase. How do we get from CMS to the Bruce Freeman Rail Trail, professionally led, sort of considering the whole thing at once. It could potentially be split out into phases, sort of dealing with the lower piece. How do you get from the playing field to the rail trail first, and then working on the upper access, the second phase. It was possible that the lower part could be done by volunteers rather than professional effort. For timelines, I think it seems like this would probably take at least 3 years due to the amount of engineering and design work required, you know, sort of starting with a design estimate, submitting grant applications, getting funding, creating a design, you know, estimating the project, submitting grant applications, funding, to completion, and, you know, if this were to be phased out, perhaps the lower, connection piece could be done sooner, but sort of similar overall timeline. So that is what I had, you know, as I mentioned, so far we have support from Mothers Out Front, Friends of the Bruce Freeman Rail Trail, the Transportation Advisory Committee. So really what we're asking for is a statement of your support.
Yeah.
I have a question on, is there an existing sidewalk in front of the middle school?
That's a good question. You should know the answer to that.
I mean,
I
maybe
think
there's,
I think there is, I'm not sure whether it goes all the way down to, other points where you would access the rail trail, cause I think the other ones would be Williams Road and then Powder Mill Road, or, sorry.
It does, it's not in great shape.
Yeah,
there is a sidewalk. I'm just thinking
Yeah,
about,
but it's not super safe or in great shape, so like in terms of safety, especially for, I also have a 7th grade child. I would much rather her be able to walk out the back of school, get on a rail trail on her bike and walk into town or bike into town than have to deal with that sidewalk.
That intersection at Williams Road was the site of a collision as well at the rail trail. So that's a potentially a problematic intersection.
Yeah,
That time scale is so long.
it is very long.
It's embarrassing that it takes us 3 years to do, because this is not. It's a sizable project, but it's not a big, hard project. When?
you know, and I have another question about,
it's an estimate, like, I don't know, I mean, maybe it could be
Or no,
done
it's
faster.
an American, in China, they would build that in one.
Yeah.
yeah.
And they would have it.
The other question I had on those other examples you gave, are they all paved connectors or
Those
any
are-
crushed stone or?
Those are both paved, I don't think, I'm trying to remember, and this question came up in the Transportation Advisory Committee. Meeting presentation. Back, I think there were, like, it doesn't have to be paved to be accessible,
Because if you put down a base, and then the second phase would be to pave the base kind of thing.
right.
Maybe a quicker way to get.
So I think it could be, like a stabilized, yeah, stabilized gravel,
Yeah.
asphalt
Crushed stone,
or
yeah.
concrete would be options.
My understanding, I thought that this was actually part of the original design plan for the middle school, so I was actually shocked to learn that it wasn't included, because it just is, to me, it's common sense.
Yeah.
You know, we've got middle school kids trying to get to school and,
Yeah.
you know, maybe they don't have a bus, maybe they don't have a parent that can drive them. There's a trail that goes straight to the school, so it should be accessible.
The other thing I think is more desirable about this, I mean, going back to your point about the sidewalk and access that way, I think, you know, all the action is in the front of the building, the buses and the parents picking kids up, and it seems like it could actually be, you know, yes, there's a way for bikers and pedestrians to get around that, but it seems like it could be safer for the bulk of the bike and pedestrian traffic to be going out the back of the school, just so it's away from everything else going on.
And to your first point, there are hundreds of kids already using sort of dirt paths, so it's not like it's just rerouting, it's just making it better. Current use.
So in your ideal scenario, what is the action that you would be hoping we would take?
So I think the action you would take ideally is a sort of a statement of your support for this idea.
So chair, hear a motion?
I'll propose a motion to support a bike path connection to the Bruce Stream Rail Trail to the middle school.
I'll second.
Discussion on the motion. Anything else we want to say?
Yeah, no, I think I think it's great, and I think, I never realized it was a 30-foot drop. I've been down that, but it's been a while. And I think we should be able to do it.
I would just note, and you might note this when you talk to the school committee, that part of the climate action plan is that we have committed to improve connections to multimodal transit resources. And this would be in comportment with that objective. That doesn't necessarily mean that the school has any obligation to pay for it. But the town might. Any other discussion?
My only point is it doesn't have to be a gold standard path. It could be, you know, like a lot of bike paths are like crushed stone and like I said earlier.
Yeah.
So, could always be a Boy Scout project to build a path.
That's a good idea.
So
That
at
was
least,
that thought for the lower part.
With the lower
Yeah,
part.
sure.
Yeah.
Not necessarily to the top.
I could donate a wheelbarrow and a shovel.
I just hope it would take more than a week. I wouldn't walk on a path that is built in a week.
Well, the little section could happen in a weekend.
Unless you are in China.
No comment. Any other discussion? Hearing none, we would be in line for a vote. All those in favor
Sorry.
of, does anyone need the motion repeated? We are voting to support the,
Bike path extension, connection.
all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it, it's unanimous. We support you.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Right, we'll move on to our next item on the agenda.
Who seconded that?
You did. Move on to our next item on the agenda, the Climate Action and Resilience Plan. A note for everybody, we're 11 minutes behind schedule right now, so I'd like to keep this pretty crisp. We don't actually have a lot of ground to cover here. So let's limit it to salient and pertinent details. You want to start?
I do, thank you. So my updates are, on the status of the request for proposals. It has been completed and finalized and it's going live on Monday. So this is, schedule has been adjusted a little bit since we last talked. I had, some feedback from procurement to improve the RFP, which, incorporating that feedback took a little bit of time. But right now, we're looking at posting it on our website on Monday. Proposals will be due on October 24th. We would be looking to do a review of the proposals on October 27th. And also I have in tentative, if we want to do interviews, I put that in as October 29th, so it's a Monday and a Wednesday. We're not required to do interviews, but it's helpful to give the folks heads up that we might be calling them in that day, so they can hold it on their calendar. So that is a little bit of a change from when we last talked about it in August, but that's where we are.
And we also confirmed that there will not be any kind of onerous requirements. We're not a subcommittee with Brad and Bob both do this. So if you're both still interested in doing this, it's not gonna create work headaches or open meeting. law.
That's correct. The town manager would appoint the selection committee. So it sounds like your recommendation is Brad and Bob to be part of that, and I think there were also ideas for, broadening this to, there's a number of other staff, but I know you had a couple other folks like TAP and.
TAP, a Natural Resources Commission and the Public Works Commission. I neglected to, I should have at the chair's breakfast solicited that other committees feel like this is something that they wanted to do, but I didn't extend that.
I'll tell, on my end of things, I have been talking about this with our senior management team regularly, because this is a plan that we all will have ownership for, and so they're aware of this process, and we'll figure out the right way to have different involvement in the selection. But the participation doesn't end there. Once we select a vendor, that's kind of the beginning of additional outreach and connection, so. Great, well, thank you, yeah, that's my update.
How do we feel about this?
That's great. Good.
What about the climate tracker and goals?
Well, that.
Was that you, Brad?
I was gonna,
Okay.
about that.
Go ahead.
I should update you that I did get together with Bob over here, we were talking about emissions, and the way we've done emissions, calculations using the, MAPC, spreadsheet-based tool. And, and actually Bob knows more about emissions calculations than anybody I know. Maybe too much. I can't get too, we want a method that's, accurate enough, repeatable, etc. So, it was good to talk about it. As a next step on that, we might repeat the analysis, from 2022 using the new version of the MAPC spreadsheet. Because they made some improvements, they're improving things, and it would be interesting to know, does that change the results? And then, I think we should plan on doing, a greenhouse gas inventory for 2025 next year. Cause 2025 being halfway through the decade, that would be a good data point.
Are we gonna have the bandwidth to do that if we're
We don't-
in the midst of? doing this
I
plan?
think it kind of goes along with the climate action plan. We could get more help, potentially, but I don't think I think it's doable.
With the climate roadmap, decarbonization roadmap data, I would think that would be less bullet than.
Well, the decarbonization roadmap is just on the municipal building. And this inventory is dominated by residential and commercial buildings. The municipal buildings is pretty small, it's a few percent of the emissions. So that would feed into it certainly. But so that's that. I wanted to share this climate tracker tool if we have time. What time are we at? Are we behind schedule?
We're presently at the hoped for time to start our next fit. So every minute we spend on this will be 1 minute over.
Yeah, well, this is interesting. So let me just show this, I have it right here. Concord tracker data. So let me share a screen for a moment. I'll share this tool that we've been working on. So this is going to be, I guess you can't see. Does that go away? Okay, this is it here. So I have to load this up. How do I load this up? Can I load up? Yes. So this is a website that it was designed by a Bentley University professor, and it's been supported by Green Energy Consumers Alliance, Mass Energize, and MCAN, Climate Goals Tracker. Now, there's actually a couple of spreadsheets. There's also an inventory tool. And I haven't checked out whether that greenhouse gas inventory matches what we do. But the Climate Goals Tracker is a nice, why did that go away? Come on back. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just the bike and a.
It was, this hasn't happened before. Come on. Sure. So this is basically a database that this woman, Xana Cranmer, has put together, which, you can look in, it shows the goals for Massachusetts based on the Clean Energy and Climate Plan. of how many electric vehicles, heat pumps and solar are needed by 2030. And this is how many there are in Massachusetts, 130,000, 139,000 EVs, so many heat pumps and so many solar arrays. And if I was to select Concord instead of Massachusetts, it'll tell us how many of these things are here. And in fact, we have the second highest number of EVs. We're doing very well with heat pumps and solar. Now, so this is a nice piece of data for all communities to be able to get because it brings it all together. These are based on state sources and also from CMLP, which provides the data on heat pumps. And this says, in order to meet the 2030 goal, they think we should get, that Concord should get an additional 1,324 EVs every year. But our total number of EVs is 1471. It's patently a little ridiculous. I would not pay that much attention to this. I've done some calculations on this, and this is relevant to setting goals on EVs. So this is a graph. This will be a little hard to see. Maybe I can make it slightly bigger. This is a graph about on how many EVs we have. That's the blue data growing with time. It's actually growing quite fast. It's growing by 35% a year, which when if you compound that, you get this dashed line, and you actually reach something like 50% of all of our vehicles being either EVs or plug-in hybrids by 2030. So that seems like how things might grow. However, there's barriers. There's you know, the federal administration, among other things, that are trying to throw sand in the gears. But this climate tracker is suggesting we follow a even steeper line, which is kind of that would require that 98% of new registrations were electric, which is kind of well, and this actually points at the difficulty as we move towards the deadline, where we're pretty far from achieving it, and we'll have to think about this in our climate action planning. You get close to the deadline, it becomes sort of physically unachievable to do this.
To be clear, this would be Concord's fair share in order to meet the state emissions
Right.
reductions goals.
And we're not,
So this doesn't speak at all to the goals that we put on ourselves in the
Right.
town plan.
right, so the goals we put on ourselves are a 50% goal.
Correct.
And it's not necessarily a 50% goal on EVs and a 50% goal on each and everything. But that's kind of a guide the eye. If half of our vehicles were EVs by 2030, which they're probably not going to be, but they could be, that would be an excellent goal to achieve. That would be something worth boasting about. Anyway, I had some fun playing around with this. You know, in terms of thinking as we go into their climate action plan, what should our goals be on these things? Because I think we should set goals and have some way of deciding on them, and it's not gonna be easy. Anyway,
Does this include commercially owned vehicles?
what is it?
Does the data include commercially owned vehicles? Like, are there any companies that have fleets of vehicles in Concord?
Yeah, it includes commercially owned vehicles, but I haven't looked at it broken out. I won't share anymore.
This is just a side note, but it kind of talks to the EV conversation and just communication. Their leasing deals are screaming right now, and they're so cheap. And they're much cheaper than ICE cars. Because of the federal thing for, credits or
Okay,
expiring in 2 weeks, but beyond that, Concord gives a rebate, the town gives a rebate. And it's not just for new cars, it's also for leased cars.
Yeah.
And I don't know if everybody knows that,
Is it the CMLP rebate you're talking about?
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if every, I mean,
Reduced electric rate. They give you. I'm not.
no, I'm not, well, I'm also talking about just,
Also a rebate.
there's also a rebate for a car, and I think, at least I was under the impression, we got one, it's great, we bought ours 2 years ago. But I just always thought it was for only buying a car, not leasing, and it's just that thing that I'm just sharing right now, because in terms of aggressive EV adoption. Both it's economically actually a better buy if you're actually in the market, you know, but even for people who are leasing ICE cars right now and thinking about switching over. They actually could save money by turning in their.
Hmm.
Internal combustion, and I know that talking to a friend, you know, so anyway, I'm just saying that, so if you wanna socialize that with your friends, but I also wonder, you know, is there something that like CMLP or. Should there be like a way to sort of let people know that you don't just have to buy a car, it's a big expense, the costs are coming down, but the leasing, you can get a Honda. Pull-off for like $150 a month or something, I mean, it's crazy cheap. So anyway, I just needed to say that, because I think we can be ambitious in our goals as long as those numbers pencil out.
Yeah, CMLP's is pushing that with some of their newsletters and stuff, and they'll be talking about it at Sunday.
Okay.
But yeah, we are running short on time.
Yeah, sorry, just.
It's just the end of the month being
Oh, right.
the deadline.
Yeah,
I don't know, because I
but
think,
not for the town.
I
just
think
federal.
that.
Yeah.
There will be auto dealerships with inventory. And when that happens, often prices stay low or go lower.
Okay,
So I don't know if the clock is ticking in terms of good deals for consumers. Even after the federal rebate turns into a pumpkin.
yeah.
How would you be hoping to use the climate tracker for our project?
You know, it's not that important for us in the sense, it's a nice little tool because, a lot of communities don't know where to get this data. And they can go to that climate tracker and they can see where they are compared to other towns. Compared, and set some goals based on it. And this will evolve. She's gonna keep working on that, and it'll be more sophisticated and useful as it goes on. Yeah, that's pretty much what I.
Any other discussion of our plan, our climate action and resilience plan updates?
I just have a quick question, hopefully. So, for the measures of success. There are, sort of 2 boxes, there are the outputs. And the, outcomes, I think, are the 2 measures.
Oh, and in the climate action plan.
Yes, so when we're assessing our progress, on some of the metrics. Some of the things we're measuring, from the outputs are not measurable, like the air quality, for example. So what do we do in that case?
I would really want to put my eyes on the specific thing that you're looking at on that dashboard. Before trying to answer that, everything that's in there should come from somewhere, there's some metric. That we have identified as an indicator of success. Why don't we, can I take that question offline maybe tomorrow? And look at what you're looking at and we'll.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a great question, I'd be interested as well, and in terms of air quality, I think it could be measured, this question of how are we doing that? And in what capacity and where, and yeah, I mean, there's a lot of questions about.
yeah,
How the measurements happening, whether it's valid, yeah, there was a lot that goes into that, I briefly looked at it, federal and state, air quality programs, and none of them are close to us, they're all in larger density areas, Framingham or Boston,
yeah.
so.
They're not gonna get all bent out of shape like Concord or something. Yeah,
So maybe we can flip that for next time off.
Yeah, let's follow up tomorrow about that. Because there's something that plan is pointing to, but we'll need somebody who knows something to look at the specific thing that you're looking at.
And she already asked me, so. I'm not that someone who knows that specific.
I'm probably not either, but I might find the right person. Anything else on the climate plan before we move on? We're falling farther behind, so let's try to be less than 20 minutes on the EPA endangerment finding regulations letter. Did everybody get a chance to look at Brad's draft? And
Should I share it on screen or anything?
does anybody need it on screen?
Well, people in the audience haven't seen it, not very much.
I'm
It's
put it up.
let me just see.
Let's not walk through it though, let's just get right to, are there edits that we need to be suggesting that haven't already been communicated? Is what you're about to put on the screen the same draft, or have you integrated people's edits?
I haven't. Did I get Evans? I don't think I tried.
I sent you something like an hour before this meeting, so.
Okay.
No.
So this is basically, expressing our vehement opposition to getting rid of the 2009 endangerment finding, and rejecting this critical assessment, which, pretty nonsense.
I can steal the microphone away from you. Does anybody have any edits or comments or concerns about the draft?
I haven't had a chance to look at it, I'd like to look at it. You just sent it out,
What?
I just wanna read it, see if I can add any value to it.
Okay, I sent it around, but I'll send it.
When did it go out, earlier in the week or?
Yeah. There we go.
I missed it,
Last week.
Oh, I'm sorry, okay. I mean, I don't wanna hold it up, when's it due? Oh, it went out,
Oh, we're gonna,
officially, right?
this is due right now, we're gonna do this right now,
Okay,
so give it a close read.
Yeah.
well, I don't wanna hold up the meeting.
Well, I'll go through my stuff first while you're reading, so here's what I have.
Yeah,
I wanna change the date to today.
okay, that would be,
17.
I am concerned that your font and your line spacing from the top and the main body
Yeah.
are not uniform, so I just wanna make those uniform, and I wanna double check that the top of this letter, the address, the subject, the docket, and the
Yeah.
salutation are actually single spaced, because I believe that they might not be. So I wanna make that uniform and single space.
you know, I wanted you to do the spacing.
You want me to do the spacing? I want Megan to do the spacing. Because she's gonna print something for us.
You need to be lowercase for the chemistry, if you wanna knit. CO2 is lowercase, the 2 and the 4 and the 2,
You mean?
They are subscript.
so that's what I meant,
Yeah.
subscript, yeah.
Okay.
Good
Now,
observation.
that stream, CO2, methane, NOx. And many synthetic chemicals, those are, we're talking, greenhouse gas contributors, right?
Okay, yeah, if we're concerned about the line spacing, I didn't think about that yet.
We'll do these edits first, and then we'll zap it over to Megan through the series of tubes that comprise the internet, and then she's gonna have a clean copy for us at the end. So, in paragraphs 2 and 4, you have capitalized the word nation.
Or nation. Nation. That is supposed to be capitalized.
Why? It's not a proper noun.
Or is it only capitalized if you say the nation?
Like the magazine, The Nation, that would be capitalized.
Well,
In this use case, this is not a proper noun, so I believe that.
okay, I think our nation probably isn't supposed to be capitalized.
And the same issue in paragraph 4.
And maybe, oh. Okay, so it should paragraph 4, yeah. Good,
And then, this might be again something that we asked Megan to do at the close of the meeting, but I would like, if we are to ratify some version of this letter and send it, I would like for us to sign it with wet signatures, so I wanna be adding signature lines for us
Okay.
and sign it to me. And then that would require you to upload, instead of just like copy pasting into their web form, we'd upload the letter. Which, that kind of page has the capacity to do.
Is that the kind of a more effective way for it to?
I believe that to the extent that anybody at the EPA is gonna pay attention to our committee.
Yeah.
I believe that it is more powerful for us to demonstrate that we actually put pen to paper.
Yeah.
okay, so how do you do that now?
The first pen
We passed
at the
it.
end of this meeting.
Okay.
Oh, couple of comments, you may want to have a bullet on transportation improvements. Or,
Yeah,
and you may want to make reference to the insurance industry has also acknowledged climate change throughout the country by increasing rates and can't even get insurance in many places. I mean, these are independent. Versus just the scientists, have a sentence in there about the insurance industry is acknowledged climate change is a grave threat, one sentence.
yeah.
I don't know.
Where would I put that?
I think that's important because of the point of us basically saying you're kowtowing to short-term corporate interests. Insurance companies are corporate interests, I mean, right, so they're acknowledging the threat.
That's right.
And that gets to the later point that you make in the last paragraph about economic, security. As well.
Okay. So what I'm not hearing very well, so I didn't actually hear everything that Bob said, but you
I
want,
felt on the section where things are improving rapidly. We should just say transportation improvements or public transport improvements, like electrification of rail. Those are ways to reduce emissions that we should encourage.
That's the bullet point.
So bullet points.
you're saying I should add a bullet?
Let's add a bullet point, public transportation, public transport. Even though it's few and far between, but we are,
I'll add it right here, it's third bullet point.
That's the key content.
Yeah, he'll add one at the end.
Including the rail. Now this is, make it possible for, what should I say here, for, more people to travel between cities. Well, this is for high-speed wood rail,
or just improvements to public transport too, to get people off their car, out of their cars, which has always been this, road building versus public transport.
okay. So this is talking about change to technology, and now we're talking about.
You just, that's why I just say public transportation. I would not be specific, because we know that there are electric buses, for instance.
Right,
Rapid transit.
Rapid transit.
I'm just thinking about it, okay. Buses, rapid and high-speed rail.
High-speed rail is the work committee.
Yeah, that's, I think you don't need to explain why, that's just good, people will understand that.
Oh, I see, the work of our committee, yeah, that's a good point. Well, and many others.
Make it possible for, more people to get
Places efficiently,
places
more efficiently.
efficiently and affordably.
And That's the way it starts.
without, lowering,
Emissions.
and avoiding pollution. Without, okay. Okay, I'll just put that in.
I wanna go up to just before the bullet list.
Yeah,
Immediately before you say they include, I believe it should be it includes. The work, because that they is referring to the work of our committee.
okay, using new included technologies. The new technologies are what I was,
You're referring to the new technologies. I would be more comfortable just saying these new technologies include them to make that clear. Because that was not clear.
include, okay, and now this is not, maybe I should put the public transportation not as a new technology, I guess it's.
It is.
Well, the electric buses, yeah,
Fine.
but the one thing is, we're not
Right.
doing high-speed rail in Concord, so I'm not sure. Maybe we'll say rapid transit and do that.
Well, we're
Maybe
saying
we'll
maybe it's like,
electrify,
right?
Right, yeah.
maybe the trail will be, I mean, the rail line will be electrified someday.
Yeah,
Who knows?
So, yeah.
okay, good. That's an improvement.
Other suggested edits.
When Bob was talking about the insurance,
Yeah.
And the only other thing that's really missing, I think, is our life cycle analysis of all of this. Like, you know, the alternatives to fossil fuels and thinking all the emissions up the whole chain of fossil fuels.
How does that fit into the four corners of
Well, I just think,
opposing this rollback?
because there are many toxics associated with the refining of petroleum products.
yeah,
Versus just looking at the greenhouse gases. I mean, there's a whole other set of emissions.
so
I don't know, you could, it's a can of worms.
I would, I think the bit about the insurance companies understanding this is germane.
Yeah,
They're not actually gonna read the letter.
that's true.
They're gonna. You know, they're gonna do what they wanna do.
Right.
So, when I say require adjustments, affordable and which will save a great deal of expense, especially for greater reactive spending on, environmental disasters.
And
It should put in place-
And that's the place to say, also, this could potentially lower insurance costs long term.
Is well understood, by insurance companies.
Yeah,
By the insurance
industry.
industry. Which, let's see, how should we finish that up?
Which is passing these costs along to everybody,
Which
they're passing their costs along to.
is passing.
Climate related costs.
Climate. Related costs. To all ratepayers.
There you go.
Well, you're not a ratepayer, you're a customer.
Customer, yeah, customer. All insured, maybe.
I like that.
Okay. I'm good with that.
Do we have anything else we wanna do to this? Okay, can you email?
One change, the right EPA, their whole purpose was protection of the public health and the environment. So our national public health, or protector of our public health, our national and global public health and environment. You need the word public health in there.
It is.
I don't see it.
The last.
Oh, okay. But I know the mission EPA, public health and the environment, being an ex-EPA employee. That's what I'm saying there. That's their mission, protection of the public health and the environment. It was their mission before it's been gutted.
Should I make a change?
I would like to see
At the top there, the first sentence, right?
Yeah, I would like to see public or health in national and global. But it's really pretty good here.
Can we, in the, in the interest of grammar, can we shorten that somehow? Our public health and environment,
Right, you get rid of the national and global, that's fine,
You're right.
thank you.
Okay,
so can you take this document and email it to Megan?
yeah, so I'm going to, I'm gonna download it as a,
No, don't,
Document.
stop, okay.
docket. And send it to her.
Yeah, and then Megan will check our spacing and get us
Is that good?
signature lines, and can you put it on the masthead that has the town of Concord sustainability thing on it?
Here, you
And we'll
can
sign this right now. Yes, please.
Thank you for letting me do it.
Great, so now what we need is a motion.
Patch files. Make a motion to send it.
Second.
Okay, there's the file.
Clarify, the motion is to approve, sign, and transmit to the EPA this letter as our public comment,
Sure, yeah, that's my motion.
and seconded by Shelley. Any other discussion?
No, I was in
Oh.
favor.
Yeah.
Now we gotta make sure there's no other discussion first. All right, hearing none would be line for a vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. It passes unanimously.
Good, okay.
Everybody,
Nice job, Ray.
everybody stick around at the end of the meeting and we'll sign that. Great, let's move on to,
So,
let me know when you're ready, Brad, because you're up next on the next thing on our agenda.
okay. Yeah,
We'll move on to agenda item number 9, other updates. Let's talk about network geothermal, specifically you're talking CMLP first, and then we'll do G7 on pipeline alternatives after.
yes, so, I was asked by Jason Bulger, the light plant director, to speak to the light board, and Jason and Laura from the light plant have been meeting with us for months about, when we were talking specifically about network geothermal, and then more recently been talking about the G-step stuff, and they're still interested. They're very supportive, but they need to be, it's important for them to get buy-in from the light board, which is like the corporate overseers of CMLP at some point. So I wrote up a presentation and got great feedback on it from Brad Guy and from Linda, which I really appreciated. It's still not as good as you would have, but we didn't have time to deliver the presentation at the meeting last week, so it will be delivered this coming Tuesday morning, around 8 o'clock. Most of it's not controversial. I did want to share one thing, just because if you don't mind. I'm gonna share the screen again. Cause it's, what I put in, where, share that. It's this one here. So, it's about geothermal, and I'll send a copy to everybody. I think I might have sent it around. The one thing I was kind of interested in is, I set out this, what I call a vision for electrification. With network geothermal. And, it starts with this year, investigating technology and business model, and this is what we would like the light board to help them with. But, the third, bullet here by 2030 is to design and implement a geothermal network for MCI Concord. That's a goal. Because that's, it would be nice to do another pilot project ahead of time, if it's possible, if we could get it funded. Okay. But then the question is, what can we do? So, I said in here, we, between now and 2050, between 2030 and 2050, it would be, if we can be successful with our first 3 bullets, it would be nice to be able to plan and implement networks for multifamily housing throughout the town. And to do residence C zoning and residence B zoning, that's the orange. We could do the orange in, in 5 years, and in another 10 years, do this pink part of the town. That's what I would think of as success, because that would cover. That would cover a good fraction of the town's residents with thermal networks. It's kind of a grand vision just because nobody's done it yet, but anybody who hasn't seen this Framingham pilot or hasn't read about it, what they've done there, they did a network with Eversource being the lead. And they did this red network, which includes housing authority and commercial and residences. They had 100% participation. And it's working great. Took them 2 years, so took them less time than that bike path to put in this network.
It's good point.
And they're adding to it, so it sounds a little bit like a pipe dream to do this.
Yeah.
But I think it's gonna be a manageable investment. So I'm looking forward to making this talk to them again next week. And getting support for, light plant personnel to, participate. I should mention, I also heard back from, a guy at MAPC, Jeremy Koo, who I know, like the energy guy at MAPC. They wrote us into their regional energy planning and state agency proposal to study the business model for in MLP districts together with other towns. And that, so there's gonna be funding for doing that work, just found out about it the other day. And, which would take place starting next year, we're all gonna be busy. But, next year we have to figure out whether this can fly and how to make it fly. That's pretty much, that's my update.
I would love to hear at our October meeting a status update based on how the talk went and
Sure.
what buttons we have to press and levers we have to pull with CMLP or any other stakeholders.
Now, this, by the way, if one likes morning meetings, the CMLP board meetings are pretty interesting. They really deal with a lot of fascinating issues about equity of ratepayers and how do you design electricity rates. That's one of the main things. It's actually pretty interesting, and you can learn a lot about the way energy is made and distributed in town.
If this happened, that would be amazing.
What? Yeah,
If this became a reality, it would be.
well, we have to make it one somehow.
Yeah.
It's,
I think it's great. I'm so supportive. I actually have a friend who's on the light board. And I know she's incredibly supportive and thinks that makes much more economic sense than, for example, a giant $100,000 battery or whatever it costs, which I know you've already approved and we're spending money on, but the town has passed
right,
a lot of money to support energy infrastructure projects. And this, I think, I'm excited about Jeremy or MAPC, that when we work on looking at the economics, because I think that's the big question. Yeah, you look at Eversource and these towns in Birmingham, but they're not losing business doing this, right? They're,
Right,
whereas in Concord,
in Concord,
it's
it's
a different story.
not as clear,
Yes.
it's a little murky. I think it should work out, but they have to, you know. You have to demonstrate that it can work.
Is there anything else that you can say on GSEP and on pipeline alternatives?
No, at the moment.
That's so
When,
progress.
do we have another meeting scheduled on GSEP stuff? You know, Linda,
Not that I know of.
we need to schedule.
I will say that Laura Scott, we sent an email about the feasibility of some of it, the economic feasibility, and that she was saying we really needed. That the economic feasibility.
Yeah.
We really need to tie in with, like, commercial businesses, it cannot be just residential alone.
Laura said,
Yeah, she sent it in an email.
Yeah, that was an interesting presentation, or there's a, I can't remember where it was, but she said, I think you were on that email.
I missed.
There needs to be an anchor, kind of a commercial anchor site. So the Thoreau district, it could be a potential. I know that's come up a couple times.
Yeah.
But I know we've been talking about other GSAP sites as maybe
Oh,
being,
anchor tent, okay,
yeah.
oh, I missed this. Okay, I'm gonna, read that tomorrow. Cool. Sorry, people are in there.
It's time for us to go away. We are in line for any public comments.
From there,
Um,
from here.
speak from there a little loud so that we can have the people online here.
Sure, my name is Rachel Gibson and I'm, as I mentioned, the top of the meeting, I'm a new resident of Concord. About a month, is how long I've been here. And I am a transplant from the Bay Area in California. And our family has really loved, becoming a part of this community. The one thing I find, a bit soul crushing coming from a state that requires, compost by every municipality is every time I have to throw my food scraps into the trash. And so I did see a black, what is it called, a black earth bin when I was walking my dog the other day, and it was clear to me that that was a compost bin, so I excitedly took a picture of it and thought, well, there is apparently this as an option for people who want to pay for it. Which, you know, I'm sure that there are plenty of people who will and our family will, but it made me wonder, you know, the extent to which the town has considered actually paying for curbside food waste compost for residential spaces. In part, you know, considering actually the contribution of food waste to greenhouse gas emissions, you know, among other reasons why we should care about it. So I know that I was told that Lexington actually pays for it for their residents. So I would really encourage the town to consider that.
Before we get into too much detail, remind everybody, it's not on our agenda. We really can't have a deliberative discussion about it. I wish you were here last month.
Yeah. it was on the
Yeah.
agenda.
Maybe we can get to you offline.
I'd like to raise the question just to, when, Concord doesn't pay, I mean, they provide trash pickup, but we pay for trash pickup with them. Is that the way it is in Lexington? Do they provide it, but then you pay for it if you want?
I don't know the answer to that.
I think I think that, and I know this isn't on the agenda, but I think last month. There was, as part of Megan's work too, I thought there was some action step to sort of look at, because Arlington has a model. I've been actually for Black Earth, it says Arlington on it, because I'm, anyway, but that there are lots of different models out there. And I'll just say to you, I'm also a Bay Area transplant, so I bring that up a lot on this committee about like, well, in California, it's actually illegal not to compost and, you know, things like that, so I feel your pain.
Just to clarify that, I think that what might have been mentioned at the last meeting, but it is not part of my work plan right now to do a full analysis on composting. And I think it might come up in the climate action plan as something to look at for the future, but, you know, I think. In some of the things I've been talking about. To make progress on some of these specific initiatives, I think we have to be pretty focused, and so at this point. The initiatives that I discussed are where my main focus is on the staff level, and I think that this is valuable and it's been coming on more and more lately, and I think putting more resources to exploring it is worthwhile, but I don't wanna overpromise what I will be coming back with at this time.
Okay.
Any other public comments? Thanks to our couple of people on Zoom for staying this whole time with nothing to tell us. I hope we were worth it.
A quick public comment, and.
Sure, go ahead.
I can try to take this offline, I'm just wondering how involved you all are with the MCI Concord effort, I know that it for network geothermal is like, would be amazing. And I know they just released some information about that,
Yeah, guys, so there's some new stuff from them, I haven't checked it out, if you want to, I'm not on top of it, I'm catching them, yeah.
I can give a quick update, if it's okay, the plan or after all of the outreach this summer. That was distilled into kind of a vision plan, and so that had, the new announcement. Is that has been finalized and pushed out for folks to take a look at. And I think the community spent a lot of time going to different threads and talking about it, and so you can read all about it there. It's not landing on one final, this is what Concord wants. That is still being discussed, and the MCI advisory board has been working really hard to kind of meet and think about some of the constraints and the opportunities in the site. And they will then make a recommendation to the select board, and so that, but for folks that are new too, that are interested in what's been going on in the prison, what are people thinking about for the future, it's a really nice read, and it's right on our homepage, and you can get access to it to understand some of the history and all of the work that's been done in the past year or so.
and is the water treatment plant incorporated into that vision?
I mean, yes, the water treatment plant, the wastewater treatment plant is critical to any future development there. There is a separate but tied together negotiation between the Division of Capital Asset Management and the town of Concord for a real estate transaction. We are in negotiations with what are the bounds of that, kind of what is this going to look like? But that has to, for any additional development on that site, wastewater is a critical component of it, so the MCI advisory board is very aware of that factor. But there is also a negotiation kind of going on, staff to staff, council to council.
Sure. Thank you.
Any other public comments? Can I just verify, Megan, are you able to see whether one of them is raising their hand?
No one's raised.
Okay. That they have that functionality, correct?
I think so.
Great, then, the chair would smile favorably upon a motion to adjourn to meet next on the third Wednesday of October 15 at 7 P.M. in this room.
Okay. Motion.
All those in favor say aye, those no, the ayes have it. Stand adjourned, thank you.